time to resist. So, most of the things I have to say about this is spoilers. But the one thing I like about this is there are other ones I feel like also have this idea. But the one thing I like is this is kind of written in not in. I was about to say actually it is that not in order, incorrectly ordered. I've made a whole thing before about being like what each chapter represents, and it's in like somewhere. That was very a long time ago. But with this, the one thing I think is interesting is that like most of the chapters, and I'll go more into detail in the spoiler one, are written that represents both the past and the present, and kind of unlocking that I think it makes it interesting. Definitely, in my opinion. But yeah, I definitely think it's fun. So, also, this is going to be really long, and I fully acknowledge that. When you learn about this, definitely as I was playing it, you learn it in a very interesting way. So, most of the things you play between chapters 1 and chapter 5 is new blue. And that stuff, like the other stuff, is written that it's in a way already happened. You go to the beginning, go back to this point, and you get to blue getting trained, right? Which is her doing the first, goes back in the thing, Fixer leaves, and it's really fun. And when you learn more about Iris as a person, you sort of look at how she's not really a good person. And when you learn more about one, what Fixer wants, which ends up being a lie, you learn a bit more about Healer and how she thought that you made a bad mistake. You learn about uh, BBF and her ideas, and Noah and her sort of goals in that situation. And when you learn about more and more of them through the different parts, through the family, through the connections between other people, you learn how messy the situation is. And definitely when you get into the later part of it, because like one of the things that I actually had is I hated Iris for the longest time while playing this game. And it is a personal thing, and it's one line. Can you be normal for once? There was other stuff that shows that she kind of had a bad situation in her home, right? You had the line about being like food and like health, showing that she doesn't have a healthy relationship with food, which is interesting. But that line, because for me, as a person who is somewhat autistic and has actually been told that line before, I'm not going to say who, I'm not going to be like, and then Chris, you're watching Chris, but that's beside the point. I don't like it because the idea of act normal for once, definitely for someone who's autistic. We don't know if Zhao, who's the person she's talking to, is autistic. I'm not going to claim anyway, because even though I'm autistic, I don't have licenses to say that's autistic behavior or that's not. That's besides the point. As someone who's autistic, I sometimes get that line a lot. So when you later on in the game realize that yes, her situation with Zhao in the past and Ira's relationship was bad, and she left it badly, and when she goes forward, she wishes she had that again, and what she had to sort of push her other sort of like the Irish's clone types away because of the occupants. Like the occupants are so bizarre. I also like the idea that the occupants straight up have left. You have one occupant doing all of this. And I also like the idea that later on in the game, there's a lot of parallels, right? Within the game. And I've said this before, with this, you see certain chapters sort of have a, if I can borrow Luke Skywalker, history rhyming. which I think is interesting. The chapter that deals with the rebellion and the aftermath after we blow up a lot of stuff. You go to the past where Iris's father was a big part of this resistance. And some of the other chapters I think are just as interesting because of that. Because of that echoing. You learn more about your family. We learn then as well about Iris's family. It's very interesting. Like that way, I think it's fun, right? And when you have certain things, there's also a certain choice that I think, and theory time. I'm not going to use the whiteboard because it's not that. There's one thing that I think is interesting. There's when you go into the last chapter, you get this moment of like this event, and I do like that. I don't know if I did the fastest, and I don't know who can do it faster than that, and what is the fast time. I feel like that would be a speed running like thing, like chapter 6 speed run competition. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a competition. I'm not going to claim that point, but I just want to point out I don't know who did it the fastest. I definitely didn't, but I feel like that would be interesting. In there, there's a lot of moments where one character talks to another. You have Healer talking to BB Fire, which later on I think it kind of reveals that she died. Like earlier on, she got shot and died, which I kind of think alludes to the fact that she is dead. You have Principal, the Ancient Blue, High Priest, whatever the name, talking to one of the older and ancient sisters of Purple and having her have that conversation with, again, she is dead. Probably at this point. Because it's been a while. You could say she's not, but it's her looking young, so it's a possibility that she did die. You have. Also, I like the fact that it's later revealed that the memories that they died are fake, and that's effed up. There's reasons around it, and I love it. But you have what's the other one? Noah or Bah. I forgot the other name. I always just called her Noah. Talking to bartender, who we also know is dead. There's also another interaction. Also, I'm not talking about like the father and the city because that is an interesting one on itself. But what I am going to talk about is this one with Iris, or the all-seeing mother, and her mum. Now, all other connections, one of them was alive in some way, which is Principal, Noah, Healer. What about this one? Well, there is one person claiming that she has the memory of Iris. Now, I'm not going to claim 100% true. This could just be incorrect, and I am just putting something on that. Is there a possibility that she is right? There's a whole connection point about how memories are moving forward within this thing, and how memories, because of the system, get saved. Could it be possible in the amount of clones they produce, one of them absorbed a at least copy of those memories because of how long Iris went in to do these things with the occupants? I think so. That's my theory. I don't know. It's not connected to the review. I just wanted to mention that because I don't know if it's true or I'm going crazy. But yeah. Overall, with this story, one of the things that people have said as a thing is it doesn't feel like a game in a way. A lot of the moments besides one, you can't fail. I even like kind of failed, and that was the only other time I failed, which I kind of went to the wrong place and sort of had to go back. And it was like, oh well, and there wasn't any consequences. The only one being like the time one, but you could also turn that off after the second attempt. I didn't because I thought it'd be fun. But because I think it's all about judging about what do you think is right and what do you think is good, I don't really mind. But I do think this is amazing. But yeah, season 6 of Smallville. I hope you enjoy and good night.